Hi everyone, it's Jez and Neil from the Chinese Tech Away, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming AMD announcements. So they're going to announce probably two big things, which is what we're looking towards, which is first is the Big Navi GPUs, as well as the new Ryzen chipsets, which is the Ryzen 5000 series CPUs. So Neil, Big Navi, what are we expecting?
Right, so there's a couple of names going on for the new graphics card launch. Big Navi, we've got RDNA 2, we've got the RTX 6000 series, and maybe for ease sake, I'll refer to them as Big Navi. And so right now with Big Navi, we knew this announcement was coming at the end of, I believe, the 28th of October for some time now. And this really is interesting because we all know that Nvidia have recently released their 3080 and 3090 graphics cards. They've actually postponed their launch of their 3070 card to after Big Navi now. And I think that shows us something because not only have Nvidia done, they've showed their hand first and there's some very good performance in there, but now that they're going down to the 3070 level, which is more the mid-market, this is where actually the bulk of GPU graphics card sales take place. And they want to get this right, and they want to release a product that's priced or performance is somewhere that ensures it's competitive. So whatever happens with this launch that's coming with Big Navi, I think that what can be said overall is for consumers, it's going to be a very good thing. So is the top tier 6900 Big Navi going to beat the 3080 and 3090? Most sources that we read, still early days, are still suggesting it should be on par or at least around that sort of performance, which is good news. I've said this before, I don't see AMD at any point releasing a GPU that falls behind in price performance to Nvidia. So whatever they come in, they will make sure that they launch it as a competitive price point. And I think we could also say that the whole strategy between AMD and Nvidia are completely different. Nvidia have gone for the performance crown. They want to be number one. They want to stay on top. They're building these super hot cards, 300 watts TDP, amazing airflow systems and whatever, but they're just pushing their silicon and their technology to the absolute mouse to keep that performance crown. AMD, on the other hand, I think are playing it very differently. They just want to be the people's brand, if you want to call it that. They want to appeal to that mass market, and really between that low to mid-range price point of $200 to $500 US. They want to dominate in that section, and I think that's with what they have now. They definitely have the technology to be competitive all the way up to the 3080, and maybe they'll surprise us and do even better. But overall, it looks really, really promising. And now, although at first I wanted to get an Nvidia graphics card, I might actually switch over and get an AMD.
Yeah, and it's a very, very interesting biz model that they have. A lot of the people, like general consumers, don't know that AMD also supplies all the graphics cards for the PS5 and the new Xbox Series X. So you're talking about that sort of performance at that low of a price point, which is very, very competitive. It's going for that market where people want to spend a bit more money than a normal console. However, they don't want to have worse than console graphics. And it'd be quite interesting to see how developers will be using RDNA, because that's to anyone that makes not mobile video games but video games. They, especially console ones, they'll all be aiming to use the same graphics infrastructure, which is what AMD is using.
Yeah, so I think we're in a good state now, and a lot of people online are able to draw out these performance numbers of the new AMD card based on the graphics cards that have been going into the new Xbox and Sony PlayStation 5, and overall it's looking promising. I don't think the new GeForce 3000 series was complete home run. I mean, if anything, we just talked about the launch failure, how it's not been it's been a failure in many standpoints. And as I understand, AMD is really looking to make sure that when they do launch this, they will also have the supply to come with it. But we're a little bit staggered at the moment. We've already had the top tiers revealed by Nvidia, and if AMD does the same. They'll do their top tier, and then they'll slowly trickle down the other mid to low performance graphics cards in time. We're at this 1 to 2 month delay, which means buyers have to hold on a little bit longer, and I think a lot of buyers are feeling really upset. A lot of people missed out on the 3000 series. They want to jump on right now, and are just dying to buy the new graphics cards, and then also play the new games that will be coming out with it. Yeah. And finally, this is exciting because AMD's always been the underdog, and we've seen with Ryzen 1, they got better at multi-core performance, and then 2 and 3, and we've seen these iterations. They're slowly catching up, and everyone's wondering, when is it going to happen? And maybe it's going to happen now.
So AMD has come out with this new architecture, which is the Ryzen 5000 series. They've basically skipped over the naming of the 4000 series because that's the name of their APUs. So they thought, for marketing purposes, I assumed to be able to distinguish from one the other, because this is desktop-based CPUs. So they're calling it the 5000 series, and there's potentially a 15% IPC increase, and basically it may not seem like a lot, but IPC, instructions per cycle, basically talks about the single core performance, and that's enough to pip Intel for the top spot for single core performance, which is a big deal for not just productivity people, but for gamers as well, because single core performance is what games are usually run on, and so that's more of an important issue for gamers. And now you can see AMD might potentially take the crown from Intel for both gaming and productivity, and potentially make it at a cheaper price. So that is probably a pretty big deal when it comes to the computer
absolutely.
market.
But can I ask, if you have a 3080 and you're a gamer, do you really need more performance at this point in time? Do you need a faster CPU?
Okay, so technically, if you're playing at certain frame rates, not really. To be honest with you, actually, CPU performance, single CPU performance, only really kicks in until you have high frame rate games. So if you're, let's just say, a professional gamer or a Twitcher that basically plays in high frame rates, so anything over 120, 150, maybe 170 frames per second when you're playing, that's when single core performance, that does make a difference. However, most people are playing between 60 to 120 frames per second, and that doesn't really make that much of a difference, because the only thing that will always bottleneck will probably be the graphics card.
Yeah, it's interesting times, because I think we're getting to this point where actually hardware is running away in front of software, and the things of Crisis of 10 years ago where it was the other way around and hardware couldn't keep up with software. It'd be really, maybe this is a good thing, because it's going to cause software developers to really push forward and make games look so much better and more photorealistic. So, but I do want to ask ask that question, because are we at a state where, yes, you can go out and buy this hardware, but today maybe you can't take full use of it? And look, I don't know how many people are really playing professional esport title games at 200 frames per second, and need that to be competitive in their games. Certainly, if I play any games, I'm pretty happy with around 100. So, do I necessarily need this performance as a gamer?
Yeah, you are right. Obviously, we're talking about the enthusiast levels CPUs. However, you have to look at some of the more value-based, which is what you and I will be doing, which would probably be like the 5600s or performance, and that can really tell to you like how much of a generational leap that has been over the last year or so. And I think that, especially with AMD catching up very, very quickly with Intel, I think it'll be good for both the side to see both consumers, be competitive and actually let the prices down, which I think would be a good move for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I guess the other side is those professionals. I guess they're the ones that really take advantage of these multi-core, faster performance, where they maybe professional editors, and they really utilize this this extra bandwidth and speed to reduce their render times.
But I am looking forward towards the kind of the regular consumer 5600. I'm looking forward to see the actual, because people also, this is the last generation for the AM4 socket. So the next CPU that's coming out, you're going to need to change your motherboard. So I want to see what the final product is, and what's the maximum that you can push these boards.
Yeah, and I think that's same for me. I've got a X570 motherboard, so I have to look at this next generation where hopefully it's such a generational leap that whatever comes after is a 5-10% performance, but that might mean a big drop off in the next series, the imminent launch, so that I can just pick up one of those and be happy.
Exactly, and I think that these product now, this generation and the 5000 generation, they have so many cores that I think that it's kind of settled for the next few years.
Good stuff. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe, and let us know if you have any questions in the comments below.
All right, guys, see ya.
Bye.